Greetings folks, this is Dan, your resident Digimon fan, and Dan Looks at Stuff. Welcome back to the channels. This is a collaboration between my two channels because I have both a Digimon thing and a board game thing to look at today. Today we're going to be looking at the Digimon board game from the year 2000. It's a bit of a weird one, this. This is the Digimon board game that was released in the UK from Susan Prescot Games. I'll see if I can find the thing. There we go. Susan Prescot Games. We've got the postcode and everything. They were a sort of like 90s and 2000s board game distributor in the UK, mostly releasing stuff for kids and licensed products just like this. This is the Digimon board game. Find your Digidestined friends and save the Digi world. This board game is spawned from the original Digimon Adventure anime, so we have the original 7 Digidestined here without Kari. And yeah, it's been on my shelf for a while, number of years. I don't recall how I got it. Maybe it was gifted to me, maybe I bought it. I have no idea. Whether it's considered somewhat of a collector's item these days, I couldn't tell you. It's obviously very old, and Susan Prescott Games aren't around anymore. So it's a pretty interesting one. Although interesting, perhaps not so much when you look at the contents. So if we open up this guy, we have literally two things in the box. We have a board that we will look at in just a moment, and then we also have a bunch of cardboard counters. And that's it. The rest of the box is empty. They literally added a cardboard insert to make it look bigger. So funnily enough, there aren't even instructions in the box. The back of the box is simply this massive wall of text that explains how the game works. So that's what we're going to be using today. Here are the counters. So let's open these up and have a look at them. So first of all, you have your Digidestined counters. These come in varying colors. So we have the green, the blue, the red, and the yellow. You can see there are duplicates as well. We've got a matte for green and the blue here. There is one of the 7 Digidestined for each of the colours, and that will come into how the game plays, which we'll go through in just a moment. Next up we have black gears, which come into play when it comes to exploring Fire Island. We have various food items here, which are used to digivolve the Digidestined's Digimon, lots of Digi. Here we have some friendly Digimon, so we have Elecmon, Centaurimon, and Leomon. So if we come across these guys, they will help us on our journey. And these are some unfriendly Digimon, so we have Vegimon, Shellmon, and Ogremon. Right, let's get the board out. It's not the biggest board in the world. Looks like this. So we'll lay this down here. So this is a 4-player game. It says 4 players on the box. It doesn't say 1 to 4 or 2 to 4. It just says 4 players, but from going through the game myself, it can be played 1 player. It's just pretty hard. But it is a game for children, and I ain't no wuss. So that's what we're going to do today. So you can see on the board, we've got a bunch of islands connected by bridges, and in the middle, we have Mount Infinity with Devimon, so very much like the start of Digimon Adventure, like the first half, or is it more like a third? Also around the board we have these, what they're called, screens, one in each of the player colours. We're going to play yellow, obviously. Right, let's have a look at the instructions on the box, and also an introduction. It says, the evil Devimon has separated you from your Digi-destined friends by splitting the land into lots of small islands. You must find as many of your friends and their loyal Digimon as you can, defeat Devimon and his followers, and unite the land once more. So a TLDW, I guess, on how the game works is we need to make it into the middle of the island with TK on our team, who can digivolve Patamon into Angemon and defeat Devimon just like in the TV show. But there are a few things we have to do before we do that. So first thing we need to do is take Ogremon and put him on Mount Infinity. He is going to be the main bodyguard of Devimon, and we have to take Ogremon down before we can get to Devimon. The next thing we need to do is obviously choose our colour and our Digidestined. So I'm going to go with the Tai and Agumon yellow, and you can put them on any island you want. I'm going to put it down there to start, just so we're near our starting area. Then the next thing we need to do is to take our counters and shuffle them up face down and put 2 on each of the empty islands. You will end up with some islands with none left, depending on how many players you have, but whatever happens, just place all the counters down. God, that bit always takes ages. Right, so I have placed 2 face-down counters on as many islands as I could. We've got 1 empty island, I think. So, not too bad. Okay, and now what we need to do is make our way around the various islands, flipping over these counters and resolving them, and basically trying to build up our strength ready for the battle with Ogremon in the middle. So, what we need to do is, you see Ogremon has a 10 on him. See that? That is his battle strength. We need to build up at least 10 battle strength so that we can go into battle with Ogremon, and we need to have TK and Patamon with us so that we can then defeat Devimon. But before that, obviously, we got to find them, and they are somewhere in here. Obviously, if you're playing with multiple players, you'll take it in turns, but I'm playing on my own, so I will just keep moving along. So let's move ourselves to this island here, and we'll flip over both of these counters. So we have Izzy in blue, which is of no use to us, so we will place him down just on the island. He will just stay there. But we also, unfortunately, have Monochromon here, who has a battle number of 2. So we need to be able to defeat this Monochromon. Problem is we can't, because we've only just started the game, and all we have is our 1 from our Digidestined tie. So this means right from the very start, round 1, I've been defeated by this Monochromon. But not as all lost. What you need to do is take everything that is on the island, so in that case that's these 2, and anything that's on the screens, turn them face down, shuffle them, and put them onto empty islands. So we're going to put one over there, one over there. To be honest, could be worse. Losing so early means there's very little that I actually lost, because if I had a whole screen filled out here with food items and allied Digimon, then that could have been significantly worse. But anyway, interesting start. Okay, let's move on to the next island. We're going to move on to this island. And we have here 2 red guys, TK and Izzy. Sadly, again, nothing that they can do to help us, so they will stay face up on the island. The intention, presumably, is that if you have a red player, they would then know they can go to that island to find those guys. But obviously, playing single player, you probably could just dismiss those counters, but I'm going to leave them on the board for the purpose of, you know, playing the game as the rules are written. Okay, let's keep moving. So let's, we want to kind of avoid Ogremon. Let's go this way and see what's on this island. So here, a couple of blue guys. I swear I did shuffle these, so we'll put these face down and we continue moving onto this island, which is Blue Izzy. Oh yeah, because that's the one from earlier. Not really getting much so far, so we're going to move onto this island over here. And over here we have some more interesting things. So we first of all have a Digidestined in our colour. So we have Izzy. So he can go on our screen down here in the Digidestined section. So anything that is your colour you can take along with you towards your battle numbers. So now with Ty and Izzy I have a battle strength of 2, which means we would have beaten Monochromon before, because you have to either draw or have a higher number in order to defeat them. But that was then, and this is now. Not so helpful now. The other item that we found then is food, some sort of taco. And I could put this in the food section of my board, like that. And when it comes to what we need to do with food, I'll show you how that works. Okay, let's keep moving. So the next move would be to move on to this one here. And we have a couple things here. We have a green Mimi, which is of no use to us, so stays on the island. But we have a friendly Digimon. We have a Meramon with a battle strength of 5. So it's kind of a blessing and a curse, these strong Digimon like this, because on the one hand, it means that now we have a total battle strength of 7, which would be great if we come across a bad Digimon. But if we come across a gear, a black gear, then Meramon will turn against us and we'll have to battle against him, which in this scenario we would lose. So hopefully we can find some more Digidestined friends to back us up before that happens. Right, let's keep moving. I'm going to move to this space over here and see what we have. We have 2 more items of food, an ice cream and pears, so we'll stack them up on the food counter. I don't think there's a limit to how much food you can have. There was no mention of it in the rules, so just pile it up there. And then we're going to move to this one over here. Now, this is what I was saying. So we have a black gear, and we also have a green mat, so he just kind of stays down there. Okay, so black gear time. If you don't have any good Digimon on your board, and if there are no good Digimon on the island, then the black gear does nothing, and you would just put it in Devimon's dustbin down here. But because we have a good Digimon on our screen, that means the black gear goes inside Meramon, just like in the cartoon, and we now have to fight Meramon. Oh jeez. But all is not lost. So we have both Izzy and ourselves, so that gives us 2, and we have a bunch of food. So how the food works is it allows us to digivolve. So we have 2 Digidestined on our team. We have Ty and we have Izzy. We have to face off against Miramon, who is 5. So we need to beat or match 5 in order to defeat him. Now, food items allow you to digivolve the partners to the next stage and gain 2 extra points. So you can basically just see food as a consumable item worth 2 points. So in this case, Ty and Agumon would become Ty and Greymon with the pears, which makes them worth 3 points, and then Izzy and the ice cream would make them become worth 3 points as well. So that means that our side is worth 6 points, their side is worth 5, and therefore we win. So Meramon and the black gear go into Devimon's dustbin. They have been defeated. The food that we used also goes in the dustbin, and we can continue as we were. Okay, so let's keep moving. We're going to move to this island over here, and we have Sora and some strawberries, which is great. So we're going to stack those down on my board. So what we really need to do is find TK and have more than 10 points in combat strength so that we can get to Ogremon. Still not there yet, so we're going to move over here. Okay, here we have Vegemon and a Green Joe. So Green Joe can stay on the board. We need to defeat Vegemon, who has a combat strength of 4. So we currently have a strength of 3 now that we have Sora. So if I just bring us down here, you can see we've got Ty with 1, and then we have Sora and Izzy also worth 1. But we do also have food, so we can expend one of these foods to make our score 5, and that means that we can defeat Vegemon. So we'll put Vegemon and the food into Devimon Dustbin, and we can continue on. Alright, hopefully we can just keep getting stronger and keep the momentum going, because if I was to lose a battle now at this stage, I'd lose quite a lot of things, which would be quite unfortunate. I've only got 1 item of food. Let's keep moving. We're going to go to this island here. We find a black gear, and we find blue TK, which is fine. We don't have any good Digimon on us, and the black gear goes into the dustbin. Moving to this island here, we have Leomon, worth 10, he's a good Digimon, and we have Demi-Devimon, worth 1, a bad Digimon. So we handily defeat Demi-Devimon and bring Leomon into the group. Now hopefully we don't find any more black gears, because he's going to kick our ass. Let's move to this island down here. Please don't be a black gear. Okay, we're good. We have Monzemon, who is a friendly Digimon worth 3 points, and then we have a green TK, which is of no use to us. So one thing that isn't mentioned in the rules is what happens if you have more than 3 good Digimon with you. So if we go back down here, you can see I have 2 currently. We have Leomon and Monzemon. What happens if we end up picking up another one and then another one comes along and we have 4? Is there going to be enough room on the board? I would say that probably it makes sense that you can't have more than 3 because there are finite spaces for the good Digimon. It's not like food where it's clearly meant to be like a stack. I would say that you could probably just leave them. Maybe you could have a house rule where you can choose to swap out your Digimon for a different one. Like, if I could swap Leomon out for another one, I probably would, because he's going to be probably more of a problem than a solution if I keep him along for the ride. Anyway, just keep going. So we're going to move down here. We've nearly come full circle. On this island, we face against a Kawagamon with 8 power, and also Green Izzy, which is useless. So Kawagamon with 8 power isn't really a problem for us because we have our good Digimon here who handily defeat them. We have 10 plus 3, and then we have 3 from Digidestined, so we have 16, they have 8. Easy win. Okay, down to this one. We finally found some useful tiles. We found another Digidestined friend, so we have Matt, and we have some kind of donut. Still haven't found TK though, and we can't really push on until we've done that. We've got enough power now to face Ogremon, but we don't have TK in yellow in order to defeat Devimon. So that's our objective currently. And the further we go, the more tiles we open up, the more dangerous it gets. So if we move to this island here, we have some food, thankfully, and we also have a Bakumon, who is 7, who can be handily defeated by Leomon. Let's go here next. We find a good Digimon in Andromon and a bad Digimon in Seadramon, which is not going to be a problem for us. We can quite easily defeat them. Still looking for TK. Let's move to this island here. We have Mimi in yellow. Oh, and a black gear. That's going to sting. Alright, let's assess the situation. If you find a black gear, any good Digimon that you have taken with you and are now on your screen, turn bad. So that's these 3 down here worth 19 points in total, so we now have to defeat them. Okay, so with Ty and the 4 Digidestined, we have a total of 5 points, so we need to find an extra 14. We have 3 items of food, which would give us another 6 points, which brings us up to 11, but that is not enough to be able to defeat these guys. So sadly, we lose. So as per the rules, if your score is lower, then you have lost the fight. Take all the counters from your Digi screen, so we actually have a lot to lose this time. Except for the Digidestined friend you started with, makes sense. Mix them up with any counters in Devimon's dustbin, and put 1 counter face down on every empty island. If there are any left over, put a 2nd counter on the islands that have only 1 counter until you have used all the counters up. Do not put a counter on any island that has another player's Digidestined friend on it. Now you have to find your Digidestined friends again. Jolly good. So we have to take everything in the dustbin. We have to take everything on the screen. And the black gear that was found on the island. I think that was it. And essentially we have to now shuffle these and just put them randomly face down on things. So keep going until every empty island has something on it. Okay, so every island has something on it. So now we just keep going until we have 2 things on them. So the predicament that we have now, which is a problem probably of balance that they hadn't considered when they originally created the game, was that being a single player, you're not supposed to put any items back on an island that has one of these Digidestined counters, right? One of the colours that I don't have. The problem is that I have 5 counters left, and there isn't a single island that doesn't have either 2 face-down counters or 1 face-up Digidestined counter, which means that according to the rules, I don't actually have any idea what to do with these next. So I guess this is maybe open to interpretation. In my interpretation of the game, I guess we would go for any island that only has 1 of these guys, and we put 1 face down and 1 face up on that island, just to fill them out. I think that's probably the only way that we could stay within the spirit of the game and continue going. But now you see the predicaments that playing single player with this game has, is that we're back at the very start of the game. Square one, we've lost everything, and we now have to start again. This obviously wouldn't be a problem if you play with multiple people, because they would presumably have made some progress, and it only takes 1 person to defeat Devimon. But yeah, we're going to have to continue the slog and hope we don't find Leomon again, because that was pretty brutal. I guess the alternative would be that you could choose to discard the black gears once they've been used so that they don't end up going back into circulation like they have here, but that's not what the rules say. So I guess at this point it's just a war of attrition, you know, you've got to stick with it until you can make it to the end, which is fair enough. So let's make some progress, shall we? So we're going to come down to this island here, we find a donut and a black gear, put the donut there, black gear in the dustbin, go to this island, we find Frigimon and a cupcake, this is good stuff. We'll move to this island, we find Vegemon and Bakamon, which is not good, because they are worth 11 points. So with Frigimon, we are worth 5, and with the food items, we're worth 9, which means once again, we lose, and it's back to shuffling all of this back in, including the black gear. So yeah, single player, this is pretty ruthless. But hey, we must continue on, shall we? So we know what that island contains. Let's go back to this one, and we find Kawakamon and Monochromon, who immediately turn me into paste and get shuffled back on the board. I know not to go there now, at least. Right, let's move forward onto this island. We finally found TK, which means we could end the game if we get enough points to defeat Ogremon. We also found Mimi, who stays there. Let's move on to this island over here. We found a hot dog and a black gear, so we can take the hot dog, put the gear in the bin. These islands are safe, so we can move to this one, and we only need to turn over this, which is Izzy. Awesome, so we now have a combat score of 3, and then 5 if you include the hot dog. So if we can get 5 more points, we can actually now make it to the middle and defeat Ogremon and then Devimon. So let's move to this counter here. We found Sora. Awesome. So we are now up to 6 points. We're nearly there. Let's move to this island here. We found a good Digimon, Unimon. Nice. Worth 8. And we found some popcorn, which is worth 2. So we're in a good position now because we have 4 Digidestined, including TK, so that gives us 4 points. We have 2 items of food, which brings us up to 8, and we have Unimon, who brings us up to 16, which means with TK and with that combat score, we can now win the game. And all we have to do is move 1 space because we lined up on this island right here, so we can go into the middle to face off against Ogremon. We have a combat score of 1, 2, 3, 4. And then with Unimon, we're up to 12. And then with the 2 food items, we're up to 16. We'll keep the food items anyway. So we handily defeat Ogremon. He goes off into the dustbin. And because we are in the middle with TK, we win the game. So the box says, if you can get to Infinity Mountain, beat Ogremon, and have TK and Tokamon with you to defeat Devimon, you have won the game and saved the Digiworld from destruction. It's funny it says Tokamon, because that is quite clearly Patamon, but it is what it is. And that's it. We won. So what did we learn? I think if you ask me, this game kind of sucks. I mean, I know it's for children. Obviously, it's not the most complicated game. But as you saw, I failed multiple times and then was able to actually succeed extremely quickly after that through sheer luck. I mean, obviously, it's a luck-based game. Maybe it would be more fun to play with more people. Cool piece of memorabilia, I guess. Not too complicated. If you can find one, then maybe put it on the shelf, but I wouldn't go cracking this out with some beers at a game night, you know. So there we are. There is the Digimon board game from the year 2000 by Susan Prescot Games. I think it could be more interesting if you made some alterations to the rules. I mean, the rules are quite flimsy and it's not really designed for a single player mode. But yeah, that's all from me today. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll catch you on another video, hopefully soon.